So I found out today that the patch notes have been updated on the official Splatoon patch. How they have this page that's like how to update Splatoon 3, but they also have all the patch notes, and this is where they post them, which is it's a little bit misleading where you can find them. But here they are, and they've been updated for the new patch coming out 3.0.0 for Fresh Season. And it's releasing today. So let's talk about how the game is about to change. So first of all, they're adding the Inkopolis DLC, which we knew was coming. So that's awesome. We're going to get that Inkopolis stuff, and we'll get to check out what the new hub looks like. This is huge. 126 new items. So I'm thinking store product lineups. So this isn't just gear. This is also like the general store stuff. So like stickers and whatnot. So that's maybe like 30 new gear items per category. So 30 new hats, 30 new shirts, 30 new pairs of shoes, stuff like that. So that's pretty sizable. That's a good amount of stuff. New emotes as well from the catalogs, so I'm sure that'll be entertaining for a lot of us. Tableturf cards, prizes for fish scales at Grisco, all good stuff. Notifications, added the pool feature. If you join Turf War fans, you'll be able to... Okay, so this is actually online with not even necessarily people who are your friends. Isn't a limit on how many people can join the same pool, or maybe cases in which notifications won't be sent to all members if a large number of players are connected. Okay, interesting. I wonder if they're going to create these pools and it's just going to be like an arbitrary group of things that Nintendo creates, or whether this is something that some things are going to be player created. I'd have to think it's Nintendo, because if they're naming these things unique things like Turf War fans, you wouldn't want the players to just get the ability to name that unless they give them like a list of names somehow. I don't know. That's a little weird. I'm not sure how useful that's going to be. Multiplayer changes. This is a big deal. So Kraken and Super Chump, we already know what these are about. Destroyed if hit with an attack. It says destroyed. There's been some question based on different localizations, different translations, of whether they explode and like detonate as usual when they get shot, or if they are destroyed without exploding when they get shot. The majority of them that I've seen have seemed to suggest that you get rid of them, they're gone, rather than that they explode normally. Because it says that aren't destroyed will explode after a certain amount of time. But this says after a certain amount of time, so it's a little bit unclear still. Anyway. So we've got all of these new kits, and we know about all of these. They've all been introduced already, so nothing new to talk about there. So they're doubling the amount of damage dealt to non-player objects with the big swing. So they're increasing its object damage. That's, a big amount to increase it by. I still don't feel like this weapon's going to do anything in combat, so I don't think it's going to be especially used, but they're trying to buff it. They recognize it's weak. Burst Bomb. Ooh. Did they nerf Burst Bomb? Increase the amount of time it takes for ink to begin recovering after being used. They nerfed Burst Bomb output. So that's targeted at the Splash-O-Matic in all likelihood. Burst Bomb change actually also affects Stampers, to be fair. Like, that is something that the Stamper players are also going to be touched by a little bit, but... and that's also good, because those are two top-tier weapons that, have very significant use of the Burst Bomb. So making them a little bit less spammable is definitely going to bring those down a little bit, which is, I think, a good thing. Trizuka, damage dealt to Crab Tank armor increased by about 20%. And this, I have heard that, like, in general, what they did was make a lot of other special weapons do more damage to Crab Tank armor. Increased by 2.5x, which I believe makes this a 2-shot against the Crab Tank. I think I actually asked for that to happen on stream at one point once, so that was kind of prophetic of me. And then 3x by Ultra Stamp. It already does a lot of damage to Crab Tank armor, but this is just going to shred it real quick. So Zuka, 20%. I don't know if 20% is a lot, because it took, I think, 3 shots to peel off Crab Tank armor before. 20% might make it 2-shot instead now, but 2-shotting with the Trizuka takes a long time. So I don't know how much better that's going to be. But this seems to be like the major nerf that we're getting to Crab Tank, that these specials counter it a little bit, and so maybe we see some play out of the Rapid now because it's going to be used to shred Crab Tank for that. Maybe that's the angle that we get for that. There are a lot of Ultra Stamp weapons that people are looking at right now, particularly the Splatana Wiper, so that might be worth it to investigate a little further just to see if that is going to be a valuable counter to it, or if the Crab Tank is still going to win the 1v1. And Zuka, it might be worth it to bust out the Splatter Shot and just see if I think that that's really making a noticeable change, both with and without Object Shredder. Points to special, buffing the Aerospray MG, which is not going to change anything. The special that it gets is still not worth it, and it already painted well for it anyway. Zap is going to be able to spam Tacticoolers a little better. There was talk of Tri-Nouveau plus Zap being played as a double Tacticooler comp to create a zombie comp, and this is only going to improve its ability to do that. V Tri-Slosher is getting a buff to its Inkjets, and the Inkjets already attack Crab Tank, so we're probably going to see some Tri-Slosher players experimenting with that a little bit. Ballpoint is getting its Inkjet faster, and Tri-Stringer is getting its Whale faster. That's going to be good for the Tri-Stringer players. Tri-Stringer has already been seeing use, so it getting buffed also is going to be nice. Made it easier to activate the effect from special power-up gear, even when the player only has a few items of that gear ability equipped. Effect gained from equipping maximum number will not change. Okay, so you get more out of a small amount of special power-up gear. We'll see if that actually leads to this getting used at all. Because the special power-up is not being used an awful lot right now. But changed the terrain in some stages for some modes, and reduced the impacts of weapons shooting from far away. Change the terrain in some stages for some modes, reduce the impact of weapons shooting from far away. So, did they add more cover then? Seems like that might be the idea, that they're adding more things to get in the way of weapons firing from far away. Maybe they put up some billboards to block some sight lines. Maybe they added more cover below. That'll be interesting to see. So they changed every eel tail map. They changed some of Hagglefish. Interesting. So Hagglefish, they're probably targeting glass. That has to be it. Which I'm not sure I like. It's not like long-range weapons were broken on Hagglefish. Just that they were strong on like one particular position or so. I don't know. It might not hurt, but I'm sure that the Charger players might not like this. Mincemeat, I mean, whatever we can change about Mincemeat, the better. Didn't touch Tower for some reason. I'm surprised at that. That seems like another mode that you would still want to change, but then Hammerhead, they're changing everything. Okay, good. Changing Museum. Museum is one of the better liked maps right now. And Clamblitz especially. I'm surprised at that one. They're only changing Turf War and Zones. Zones is the best Mahi Mahi. What about the other ones? The other ones are still a problem too. I don't know what they're looking at if they're only changing Zones on Mahi. I wonder how much of an impact this is going to have. Changing Mako. Mako hasn't changed for a while. So it'll be interesting to see what they try to do with that. This is a weirdly random selection of different stages. I guess maybe they're like trying to pinpoint spots that crab tanks get used from and trying to nerf those. I can only speculate. We'll have to see what the changes end up being. Sound effect with Ultra Stamp is less audible to teammates. Okay. So it's less confusing which team used the stamp. Less audible to teammates, less audible to teammates. Okay. So those things are just to make it so you don't get confused that an opponent used it. Salmon Run, we've got a new King Salmonid. Whether it appears will depend on the schedule. Okay. Extra work. In extra work, players can assemble a group of 2 to 4 friends or members from the same pool. Okay, so this is adding the pool system in there. I'd like to see more of how the pool system works. Players will be notified when their connection's unstable. If the connection continues to be unstable, controls will temporarily be disabled. Isn't that basically how it worked in Splatoon 2? I thought that was how it worked already. Changes to Splatfests, and 10x sends a notification. Oh, okay, so this is... there used to be like a ticker when there was a Splatfest on. Whenever someone would win like a 10x or 100x battle, on the ticker it would show you any of your friends that won those battles, and now that's based on pools. Changes to lockers. Store all items placed in your locker at once. Oh, to just clear the locker out altogether. Gotcha. Tableturf. You can create a room in the lobby. Up to 10 players can join a room. 2 players in the same room take a seat. The game will commence. Between the two will commence. Okay. You can watch a game by approaching them, pressing a button. Cool. So they're kind of making it like you're in the room with everybody. You can play through the same process in the shoal, the LAN mode in the same way. Cool. Just a lobby. Added the Jukebox. Everyone's excited about this one. You get to play whatever music you want. You'll gain more songs to choose from as you progress. Okay, so you won't have everything all at once. You have to unlock everything. Temporarily change music playing in the lobby to a song of your choosing. When using the Jukebox in a private battle room, the music you choose will also play in the lobbies. Okay, so when you play something on the Jukebox, that plays for everybody, which is why you have to pay cash to incentivize you from not just sitting on the Jukebox and like spamming your choice so that other people can't override you. Number of items on display in the gear shop at once to 9, which we heard about. This is going to make it so that you can get those pesky few items that you haven't been able to unlock so far quicker. Oh, that's cool. So if you didn't get something on the catalog, you'll be able to go and get it from the shell out machine. That's really awesome. Amount of time before screen burn-in reduction in certain modes. Okay, screen burn-in reduction. This is a setting that all of the streamers probably already have turned off. But if you've ever been watching a stream or a tournament or something where all of a sudden the screen dimmed, it's this screen burn-in reduction setting. And they've modified that so that, like, with watching replays or something, that doesn't happen as quickly because a lot of the time you're not going to be touching it for a while. And so they want to not just, like, make your screen dim because that's been annoying. So that's a nice little quality of life thing. Improved matchmaking efficiency and open. Teams will be disbanded and new players will be added if only a few current players select to keep going. Interesting. So more people than one have to click keep going to keep everybody together. Unless you're playing with friends. This is, their rationale for making the changes that they have. So adding support for the expansion pass, of course. For battles, changes are for special weapon balance, which is very much needed. And that, that's what a lot of the community has been talking about, is needed for some time now. Curtailing strategies that employed repeated use of certain sub-weapons. Burst bombs. We hope to release data that includes main weapon adjustments before long. And then a bunch of bug fixes. We'll skim the bug fixes real quick just to see what's there. Steep inclines. If your umbrella was broken the moment you launched it, it would appear broken on your screen but would continue moving on others. Okay. So none of those are really making the umbrellas more playable per se. Okay. Nothing that seems especially important in the bug fixes there. All right, yeah, I'm not seeing anything from that section of bug fixes as well that's really making a huge difference. Hi there, Romeo. Romeo's now in my lab. Some Salmon Run fixes, which again are just going to be bug fixes here. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Oh, interesting. Some weird stuff was happening with Splatfest floats, I guess. Other fixes. All right, and that brings us to the bottom of the patch. So, My biggest concern is that this isn't enough of a nerf to Crab Tank. Because these are some fairly underutilized specials for different reasons than that they don't do enough damage. Inkjet and Ultra Stamp are both very vulnerable specials. They're specials that you can't use very safely. And sure, the Crab Tanks could tank them, and now they can't tank them as well, but especially with the ZNF Charger coming in, I'm worried about these just getting sniped still. There's a lot of counterplay to the Inkjet and the Ultra Stamp right now, and I'm not sure that that's going to end up being enough. We do have Kraken. It's unclear right now how much damage Kraken is going to end up doing to the Crab Tank, or even how it'll interact with it. I don't know if it's going to bounce off. I don't know if it's going to be able to just keep jumping at it. I don't know if the dash move is going to cross it up or if it's going to just bump into it and bounce off. So that's also something that we'll need to see. Trizooka, Inkjet, and Ultra Stamp. Those are the three. Because you're not seeing any of these in high-level play right now. If we don't specifically switch to those weapons for this purpose, Crab Tank is completely untouched. The only thing that might change it is if those specials are able to actually elevate their weapons, or if Kraken is, or maybe Super Chump, I guess, is a reasonable counter to it. I'm not sure how much I like those odds, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we're not going to have to wait very long because it's going to be happening today. So go out there and play some Splatoon. Try out your Zuka, Jet, and Stamp weapons that you haven't been touching because they've been weak so far, and see if you are able to make a dent in the Crab Tanks. That is the hope that we are being given right now. That, and I guess that the splash is modestly nerfed here by the Burst Bomb change. I generally, like the changes. There are a lot of changes that we don't really understand yet. We don't know what changes they're making to these maps. That's, potentially huge because this is a big and weird variety of maps. Lots of question marks still that are going to have to be answered by our experience. I think everything's in the right direction. The question, I think, is just how far is it going in that direction, and what new variables are we adding with the new specials and the new weapon kits. Again, cautiously optimistic. Still not sure whether they've gone far enough yet, but we're going to find out by being able to play Fresh Season, which hopefully you can do pretty soon. So good luck out there, gamers, and hope your weapon got what it needs to be functional now.